Good morning on the Bob for Breakfast show. How are you today? Hope you had a lovely night rest. My name is Tony Siojo, and if you're just joining us, we do this every Monday all the way till Friday. On the show, looking at the stories that made the front page of the dailies, picking up some topical issues and dissecting them, and particularly every Thursday, important to note that we always have the forgotten ones, the areas of Nigeria that have been forgotten, haven't felt any form of government presence for a long time. Those are the areas that we look at, and that's why we call our community reporter every Thursday the forgotten one. So all of that we have for you this morning, and I'm so glad to be here. Do you have something to be thankful for? Yes, I do have something to be thankful for. Hope you also do have something to be thankful for this morning. Maybe the month is not going as you would have planned for it to go. Maybe you are not even looking, critically at certain things, or you think that it seems not just to be working, or all of the responsibilities just dumping on your shoulder in the month of January. And so you feel like, oh God, I'm so overwhelmed with everything happening right now. Whatever it is that is happening around you, you must still be thankful, first of all, for life. And that's it. All right, so looking at the papers this morning, I'm not alone in the studio. As usual, joining us on the show is an elder statesman, a man of caliber and color, and someone who is a music icon, someone who appreciates Africa and, of course, Nigeria, and is propagating the story of a good Nigeria through music. I'm talking about Mr. Akin Fatunke. Good morning.
Good morning, Tosin. Good morning,
today?
Nigeria. 16 days into...
Yes, into the year.
Into the year. Running fast as one should expect.
Yes, the year is actually running.
Mid-January, and I hope all is going well despite the challenges that dot the landscape.
I like the way you put it. The challenges that dots the landscape. You're not calling it the challenges of our nation, but it looks as if it's just the challenge, the entire landscape. The world, yes. Nigeria.
In all the geopolitical zones, the raging fires in Australia, and for the first time we are having the flood.
Yes.
In the desert area of Dubai. Of course, not to begin to talk Afghanistan, like Shonala Olumese will say. We look at all the problems that we also have here in Nigeria: security, economy, and youth empowerment, Malian issues. Just name them. I think at the end of the day, it's not so much the problems being there. They will be there. Like Tai Solarin said in 1960, January 1, the problems must be there, but our ability to scale them and succeed and learn.
Despite.
And learn from our failures makes us developmental prone. So that's the way I look at it. So easy.
Right, let's look at the front page of the dailies this morning, and I'll look quickly at some of the stories making the front page. The first one here, your Guardian newspaper: Yoruba leaders, senior lawyers knock Malami on Amotekun. You were expecting that story, I presume.
I am expecting the story. I'm expecting the story because everything is now must and naturally be politicized one way or the other. There will always be misinterpretation, misrepresentation, lack of proper planning. And I'm a communications consultant, talking, explaining, re-explaining. I always say that it's better to over-communicate than
to not communicate at all.
To even communicate. You see, you can still go ahead and communicate, and people will read your communication a bit different. And my classic example that I always use is going to the holy books, the Bible.
Yes.
Okay, you have the Gospels reporting the same event. Of course, the kernel of the event is sacrosanct, but reported from different angles. You go to watch a football match, at the stadium, different people will see different action and then come out and describe it differently. You know, Akin to the 6 blind men of Hidostan. They all see the elephant, and depending on where they touch, they can describe the elephant in different ways. Yes, and going straight to the point, the Amotekun debacle is going on, and the headline is talking about the Southwest governors seeking an audience with Mr. President of the Federal Republic and trying to explain,
put across their thoughts,
explain. My own effective, efficient way of looking at it is that all that should have been done. But like I said, if that communication was done and people did not understand, or people along the line now begin to read some politics,
some political meaning to it,
so be it. Explain, especially when we don't have any skeletons in our cupboard. What is clear?
Especially because I remember that there were meetings, several meetings with the president. I remember that even the Oni of Ife and the Obas led the Obas of Nigeria to the president to talk about some of these issues. It's been in the news for over 7 months that the Southeast governors wanted to put together a security, hunter. In fact, the way the police was a vigilante to assist the police in intelligence gathering, especially when they discovered that most of these kidnappings were happening and the people were disappearing into bushes, and so they've been meeting and all of that. So maybe, like you said, over communication is necessary in this stage.
Communicate, because situations where you are communicating to people who can hear, you should also recognize the fact that you might be communicating to people who have some impairment, in understanding your gesticulations. You have to also be able to carry along people who will naturally have some tendencies to throw in politics into the picture. But either way you look at it, the point is clear. We are not living safe. We are having banditry, kidnapping on nearly an every other day basis. These come in, plunder, cause a lot of mayhem. And the classic case is the case of the daughter to Chief Fasho, amongst many. And all we hear is condolence. And
then investigation being done after.
If condolence will stop the mayhem from happening, it should have. It has not. So people naturally will have to seek to self-help. And it's just not in the area of our security. Even in our educational institutions, healthcare, people have had to augment one way or the other a lot of the things that the federal government primarily should provide to a population of about 201 million. And if we glaringly see that this is not happening, we also have a right to self-protection, albeit we do it with due process and in full recognition of the rule of law.
Right, if you're just joining us and you're particularly planning to hit the road at any time today, I'd advise that you pick up your phone and follow MITV. It's MITV NG on Facebook, where you get to watch us live and also follow the show all the way from the beginning to the end of the show. So we were just looking at the papers, the Guardian newspaper, and right about now, let's just take this interesting story about the Supreme Court ruling on Imo may affect Ganduje. Abuba Galadima is talking right there. APC petitions NJC over alleged plot to make Rivers a one-party state. Wike task armed forces on fight against terrorism, and Oyo to promote honor teachers according to the student performance. Oyo will be promoting and honoring teachers according to the performance of the students.
Gladsome.
Really?
Gladsome to hear. that the rewards of teachers is not going to be paid in heaven. Nice incentive, I believe. I think it's in the right direction. My problem in my short stay in Nigeria, looking at stuff like that, always very tall and lofty at the beginning. The graveyard usually is in implementation and sustainability.
Yes.
I hope it will be sustained. And it's good to commend your state for taking that initiative. You remember 4 years, 5 years, some years back, we have grappled with the challenge of motivating teachers. First, they are not well paid, and then when they work, like most pensioners, they die in queue. They talk about ghost workers amongst them. Either way you look at it, the teachers becomes, the grass that the elephant treads on. And situations where somebody now comes with an acceptable human relations practice of incentivizing, in ensuring that when you do over and above,
yes,
you're going to get a raise. It will create some healthy competition amongst the teachers. So you begin to get your KPIs ready. A teacher who is able to get his students around mathematics, English, information technology, and get the empathy of students into doing what is right, society-wise, right values. And you can always measure that. And who is going to be the teacher? The teacher is Mr. or Mrs. or Miss Lagbaja and Tamedu. And then we begin to recognize those. Those are the type of people I believe our society should really recognize at the highest level of government, to encourage them. The children will see that this is going on, and then more of the better brains will now be attracted into that sector.
To the profession. The president is actually planning to, a couple of days ago said it was meeting with the AUT. Said it was going to do the children, I think, and I know that most of them were even proposing that the retirement age for teachers be changed, and that there be a new structure, TSSS, the teacher's salary scheme, to make, totally have a different scheme from teachers, from the normal scale. I want to retire at 65.
Super. Again.
Pardon me, please.
Again, these are works in progress, and this is where our citizens should get engaged.
Yes.
It's not unlikely there will be public hearings at the National Assembly.
Yes.
Please don't just sit on your couch.
Just sit back.
Get to know a little bit about it. Go to your local government, okay? Know your representatives at the National Assembly.
Yes.
Write your papers. Get yourselves together. For parents who are not savvy with the modern infrastructures of the techies. There are techies around. What is it that they are saying on this? Listen to radio, get involved, get engaged. Because if you don't get engaged, and if you don't engage,
yes, and
you get yourself organized, your voices will not be heard. So a snippet has been given. Let's clip on to that. NUT, and fortunately, unfortunately, the pros and cons onto the teachers now being brought under the scheme, and all that. The government is saying we can be flexible.
Yes, we can be flexible about it,
provided we see that you are making some steps to avoid multiple paying of lecturers and what have you, and all the other shenanigans that go behind the curtains in our tertiary institutions.
Talking about education, I'll pick one story from the Punch newspaper this morning. Another alleged OAU Randy lecturer was discovered and reported by someone, Motunrayo Afolayan, who said the investigations have, commenced into the allegations of request for sex leveled against the lecturer Olabisi Olaleye. Afolayan is a 400 level student in the Department of International Relations in the Faculty of Administration, where Olaleye teaches. The fresh allegation is coming after a professor of accounting, Richard Akin, was accused and convicted for sexually harassing a female student, Monica Osage. I knew Mr. Akin while I was in OAU, and that I can testify to. He actually does that. So when his story broke out, I was glad. And then when he was convicted, I was super glad, because I just wondered the number of students, because it happened to someone very close to me personally, my cousin. And I had to like walk up to him, took myself there and spoke with him. How can you see this tiny little girl, and say that you want to have a relationship with who, and it was very, very funny. It was barbaric. It's quite unfortunate. This is my alma mater in the news again. Akindele demanded for sex from Osage to help improve her grades, which is the norm then. But now, the public relations officer of OAU explained that when the incident happened last year, the management immediately set up a panel and the lecturer was placed on half salary. How do you react?
My reaction is that of deep sorrow and anguish. My reaction is similar to the fact that deterrence from the Akindele's saga has not really shown and proven himself. It's also the fact that it's been deep-rooted. It didn't start with Akindele. It has always been. It has always been. It has always been. And I am not going to try and bury my head in the sand and make a pretense here. Not just the universities, even in the private sector, in the public service. Sex for, whether it is grade, for promotion, has always been an issue. Back in my working days in Mobile, one of the things that we do is we employ interns, and the young ladies come, and the young boys do come around. Another subject entirely, and we discovered over time that the girl intern comes in a bit more sophisticated, a bit more assured than his male counterpart. So I took it upon myself to do a bit of a research over time, and I did a documentation by interrogating them, asking them questions. I found out that the young ladies confided in me that this is even way back in the university. What happens? These kind of ugly things that go behind the curtain of lecturers for grade, that even the boys now dote on them. Have you seen that lecturer? Okay, has he given you Orijo? Orijo means cronje. Cronje used to be the language in your days. The WAEC, it was the first WAEC registrar. His name was cronje, So, and then it becomes a situation where we must begin to find a way to tackle this from the root, even from our family, from parental. I know parents who have asked, and I saw a situation where a girl was asked to bring his parents to a secondary school to come and see the principal. And people were just looking at it. There was a bit of a fist cuff. And people were wondering, how can this girl be talking to the father this way? Well, they got to the principal, and then the first thing they said, how can you be talking to your father this way? And the young girl said, I'm sorry, I just have to let you know that when I reported back to my dad that he needs his attention, I said, well, I'll go anyway. What is it that you are talking about? See what your mates are doing. Go and do anything to bring money to the family. So if that has been going, and that is now taken to the universities, again, like I said, Motunrayo is bold enough to come out. I hope she'll be protected. I also hope, and I'm talking to the youths.
She's on the final year.
let's be careful. Let's go through the right process. I also know that some people can be funny.
Yes.
They might have gone to law and stuff like that. Law or not, the ethics demands that as a lecturer, it is absolutely wrong to begin to look at the soft sprays. You want a woman? They are outside. Go out there and
go after matured women.
You are a lecturer, or you are a boss, or you are a leader, or you are a community leader, or whatever it is. You are a church pastor, or you are the imam in a mosque, and you preach and you can speak a language that they can understand. So again, I pray that she will survive it. It's getting to a stage now that we must, security-wise, be able to protect some of these people that come out to blow the whistle. Otherwise, I pray and I hope we don't get a headline that whoever blew the whistle has now been permanently put down. By that I mean annihilated one way or the other. So it's sad. We must confront it. Yes. We must declare an emergency in that area.
Our educational sector actually needs total rescuing right now. Total rescuing. All right. The issue of the salary, the lecturer being placed on half salary, I'm not sure if that is adequate punishment, or I'm not even sure on what basis they came about that project of placing him on. So if he's found not guilty, the university pays up?
Well, again, and that's one of the reasons why process and law, some people say it's an ass. And until one is convicted, you are presumed to be innocent. If you don't pay him half salary, and like you said, in your logic, and is found
not guilty,
innocent, will have punished him
unduly.
A bit unduly. The point now is that if you want to come to equity, your hands must not only be clean, the plate that you want to come and eat, you ensure that the hygiene around it is clean. So that means you do double things, and then you ensure that you have light, nobody is cheating who. I'm trying to make an allusion to the fact that ethics demands that you should not even be seen near. You should not even be perceived to be seen near, so that this kind of thing will not be your fate. Fair enough, half salary. And I also think the law could be vicious, because if you are really found guilty, depending on the kind of plea that comes to it, you could even be made to refund.
Yes.
Or at least, go with your stigma. The worst beyond half salary to me is the fact that, can you just imagine what the family
of that man,
children will be facing in school? The world has become a big panorama, and people will begin to
talk about their father.
I've seen situations where children of such people even say they want to go and commit suicide because the odium is becoming unimaginable.
I expect that the woman in the question here, talking about the wife of the man, would do the right thing and protect the children. The first thing that would be ideal, I know that almost all the lecturers in Mitv, the students, their children attend the staff school. One of the where they get, some measure of, let me just say, discounted school fees. It may be about time for to relocate the children to another school. This time around, they're still in day school, but take them out of the because I know that OAU is a community school. OAU is, you have the secondary school inside, you have the villages that are inside the school, you have the teaching hospital that is also inside the school. You may want to step out a little bit away from the regular, and it may be about time to just step out and just separate, give the children
Unfortunately, the social safety nets, community safety nets that we have around this, it's easier prescribed. I
Yes,
agree.
definitely.
It's easier prescribed than possible.
What would have
Just
changed
happens
now
to
about
you.
it? Yes.
To you like that, you want to go to a private school or some other community school, they are going to be asking you to make some payments
Register.
and all that, and the standards there may not be. So I think the better way to look at the architecture is begin to discipline the minds. Okay, this has happened. It happens to Lagbaja, could be you, Tamedo. So the education for children and people living around is not to create stigma. Okay, we need to begin to now educate ourselves in a way, a manner that we are functional. You have no right to begin to jeer. Nobody has asked you to jeer, and if you do it, some punishment should be laid out to you. I don't know if you saw the video of a young Nigerian that went to Ireland, and all the white kids, because the school was going to expel on account of the fact that he's an illegal immigrant, they fought it up to the community courts, and they got a judgment, and they all rallied around him. Rather than stigmatizing this young boy,
They accepted him.
you know what the young Nigerian said? That this is one of the greatest times of my life. A Nigerian out there saying, I cannot believe that not only will I not be stigmatized against, my mom is in grief, and look at
The support.
boys and girls all coming up to say to me that I'm going to be at your back and continue to support you. Imagine that young child in Nigeria. That is where you get patriotism.
That's true.
That's
Very
where
true.
you get situations where
Very true.
this young guy will say, I want to die for his
Yes,
country.
his country.
That's not what we are
That's
having
where it
here.
comes from.
So,
That's where it comes from.
yeah.
All right, we'll be taking this break. We'll be looking at the top stories in the dailies this morning. We'll be taking this break. When we come back from this break, we're going to be talking about the mystery of therapy. It's a taboo for some people. When they mention the word therapy, they just shut down, totally shut down, because they feel, how can I go for therapy? Why would I even bother telling people what I am going through? I'm going to be stigmatized, I'm going to be looked at, and all of that. But before we do that, we'll take Kenya Diaga on the business report for today. We'll be back. All right, welcome back to the Bumper Breakfast Show. This morning, I said earlier that we're looking at the therapy taboo. And while we're waiting for Kenya Jaga to reach out to us this morning for the business report, we'll be talking about those issues that would likely never go to therapy. Why exactly does that happen? The question is, why do Nigerians even react? Like therapy, the word therapy must not exist in their dictionary. All right, but somebody joins us this morning. My Rastafari sister. All right. My Rastafari sister joins us this morning. Hi, Tessie. Good morning.
Good morning, Thomas.
How are you today?
I'm fine.
You look like you didn't sleep.
I slept though. But, at times when duty calls, not duty of the job, but duty, your family.
Your own duty.
When the duty calls, it can strain you out, it can stress you out, I'm telling you. So I've been on home duty since yesterday. So you can see me the way I'm looking now, you will know that definitely.
All the girls are doing well.
They're doing well.
They're doing well. As long as the girls are doing well, I think I can cope with you having to go do home duty. It's part of the duty. After all, they didn't even beg you to come to the road.
It's part of work-life balance.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Imagine your life without them.
Oh, it's going to be so boring
And empty.
and empty and so silent.
Silent. I like that word. Yeah. Silent. Totally silent. Totally silent. All right, let's take this very quick break. I really did a tiny little break. We'll be back. All right, welcome back to the Bumper Breakfast Show. We're talking about the therapy taboo, and Mr. Fatunke is still here.
Still very happy to be here to look at this very sensitive and very important subject. Yeah.
Now, if we look straight into it, when we talk about therapy, is it a strange word in this climb and beyond?
Wait, before you even ask that question, what is the meaning of therapy in the layman's language, so that they can understand what we're talking about,
what we mean,
what we mean by therapy? Because I tell you, some people don't even know what you call therapy. When you say therapy, it could mean anything. It could mean a lot of things. So
yes, Tessie, you're right. The ordinary dictionary definition of therapy is help. Seek help. Seek assistance for something that is happening to you, around you, which confounds you and beyond your capacity and capability to handle. And so you need to go see a psychologist, because if it is a medical condition, you are used to saying you want to go and see the doctor, you have a migraine, this is what you need to do and all that kind of stuff. But when you are now disturbed by some dislocations of the mind, you are not doing well, you lost a spouse, you lost a child, you lost a job, you are low on esteem, your attitude begins to change, you cannot have a child, your attitude begins to change, and there is the fear of the unknown happening to you, kidnapping, and you've been kidnapped, you've been a victim of kidnapping and stuff like that, and then you get jittery at
every tiny little bit of
so you then need to seek what Sigmund Freud described as psychoanalytic therapy to ensure that at the end of the day you are still normal. Many people are normal, but they just feel
there's just something there.
So that really is what therapy means. Go seek from experts. That expert could be your wife, could be your son, could be your daughter, could be your friend, and could be a community-based elderly person who has seen the good, the bad, and ugly of life, and so will be able to at least help you to say you are not alone and all that kind of stuff. And to some people, they seek it in what Karl Marx says, the hiding under religion to make you feel that good feel. It could be cool aid, you know, the Jones saga that happened way back in the US, where people went for a fifth thing and they were asked to swallow poison and they were ready to die in millions. Again, if you were a victim or you escaped from there, you know, you need some therapy, you need some help.
Now, you know, that's why I went back to why then, despite all of the scenarios that you've painted, if you've been robbed before, if you've been raped before, if you've been kidnapped before, if you've been attacked before, why then is it strange, despite all that is happening, why then is it strange in our climb for people to seek therapy? Why does it sound like, go and talk to, I must not tell anybody what is happening? Why the strange reaction to seeking help?
Fine. Let's start with a bit of a statistics.
Okay.
A study was conducted where you had whites, blacks, their reaction to what you have just said. The statistics indicated that 3% of white population at anywhere will even voice it out. And when it is voiced out, only 25% seek help in black population. Generally, not just in Nigeria.
All over the world, black people, only 25% seek help.
Amongst the whites,
And 3 would even voice out.
Amongst the whites, that percentage is about 45%.
Almost a double.
It then tells you the kind of cognitive education we get and the kind of mindset, traditional concept beliefs, the mores, you know, and that guide us from our birth until we die. The myths to say, for instance, that I'm black and proud, nice one. The flip side of it is that I'm black, I cannot cry. The myth to say, I am black and stout, and I can withhold any pains. Not true. You are black. You've had to go into slavery and taken to slavery, and some superior powers came. Pat Britannica came with the guns. And despite your belief in juju and all these kind of things, and just by snapping of the lock and barrel, people started to die. So it is more out of a negative mindset that we have been fed by our mothers, grandmothers, grandfathers, that, hey, nothing can happen to you. In fact, it was even said at one point in time that you are invincible and you are not likely to die if you are under some kind of spell. So it is that distortion, really, and lack of what you call braggadocio.
There is this mentality that we Africans have, and I think I'm guilty as well, that what you don't know won't kill you. What you don't know can't kill you. So that is why when you tell people to
And
go
I like the
for...
way you called it a mentality.
No, it's a mentality.
Because it's not a reality.
It's not a reality. It's a mentality that if you don't know, like my mom, if you tell my mom that, Mom, you're always complaining about your leg, go to the clinic and get yourself checked. Say, please, 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 oh, I don't want them to come and diagnose me of something that I did not have. Oh. I was like, Mommy, the earlier you know, the better. You see, I think that notion, that mentality needs to be corrected in Nigerians, because at times I'm guilty as well. There was a time I kept having headache. I was always having headache, and I was so scared to see the doctor, because I was thinking maybe, okay, if I don't know what is happening to me,
it will disappear.
It will disappear.
Or you were laying hands on your head every day, putting anointing oil. I'm telling yourself, this headache, you must. I'm not saying prayers don't work. I do.
I'm saying prayers work.
I know, but
prayers work. But
you must take care of yourself.
You must take care of your body. You know, actually, I now sum up courage, and I called the chairman of Medical Doctors Association in Lagos State. He happens to be a mentor, and I called and said, you need to visit the clinic. If you keep having a headache every day, something is wrong with you. So you should know something is not right. You shouldn't be scared. And I said, hey, I'll come. I started posting it. I was like, I'll come tomorrow. I'll come the day after tomorrow. And he just called me one night. He said, the earlier the better. He now scared me. He said, now there might be a cure. But if you delay, there might be no cure. You won't be
the next morning.
Ignorance.
Thank you.
Ignorance has always been with us and is still with us.
I'm telling even those ones that claim they're educated, even the ones that claim they're educated.
It is now worsened by what Tomisin is sneaking into the discourse about faith, religion. The fact that if anything is happening to you at any point in time,
go see your pastor.
It must be
spiritual.
Somebody in your family, your mother-in-law, or whatever it is, that is, you know, I had, and I'm sure you will have had this, the fear of witches and stuff like that.
Yes,
that
village people, you don't go to the village.
You dare not, you dare not even want to find any way to discredit a witch. But somebody came out one day and said, it's balance of terror. You go and meet that witch. I hear that you're a witch and you have killed so many people. I'm not online. Come on, kill me.
So if you attack,
what did that witch down there do?
If you attack your attacker, the person will first of all think,
so
this person has more power.
I think the role that religion has played in the whole of all this.
Look at the recent story, a baby that they refused to give blood transfusion
because of
religion. A baby.
And then just went like that. We have a case now. It's trending on social media. An albino. She says she's been stigmatized by her friends and what have you, and she's done a note of suicide. It's trending now
on social media.
That
I need to trend that so that people can find
I'm albino. I cannot.
I have a beautiful albino friend, Michelle. She's beautiful. You even want to be an albino if you really look at her.
Look at albinos doing
because
great
we
things.
Accepted that we eat together, we play together.
Around, all because of this stigma.
Yes.
And let me also throw this in. If you live in Lagos, and people say Yaba left. Yaba left. You are going to a psychiatrist to go and seek help.
Now something must be wrong with you.
Something is wrong. Not only that, again, the stigma that comes with it, that from your household.
Yeah.
Nobody just like we were talking about.
You don't know him or you don't know
nobody should go there to say you want to go and marry.
You want to marry.
Because
father just came back
in
from
their
Abba.
genes.
In their genes.
There is madness.
There's madness.
See how destinies have been destroyed. You know, your bone of bones and your flesh of flesh. With this kind of narratives that go on, and then what had now happened? So now go to Yaba Right and go and look for people who have not sought help, and then you don't get to the distance in your marriage. It's real.
One interesting thing to note is when you are in the army, if you go to war and you come back, whether you are well, you were shot, you had any issues, you must see you must see a therapist, a psychiatrist when you come back. The former what do they call them now? Head of service in Lagos, while she was retiring, said something interesting that over 95%, this was 95 or 55% or thereabout, over half, basically, of civil servants in Lagos have one form of mental disorder or the other.
I think all Lagosians.
And she actually said that that was her speech, at her final speech while she was leaving. And a lot of people, picked it up that week, started talking about mental illness and all of it. And somebody said to me, their father had mental illness in Abeokuta. They took him to Aro. But because the parents, the children live there, they didn't want people to know that their father had some form of mental illness. They took the man back home and locked him in a room. Until the situation deteriorated to the point where they had to forcefully carry him to Lagos. Simply because they wanted, and this was something that could have been sorted when it was just a little issue. Some form of a psychiatric help, some form of, see a psychologist, discuss from time to time, check your mental condition, and find out if there is somebody you can relate with. We just feel that the mere fact that you visit a mental institution or visit a psychologist means that your entire lineage has madness running through their veins.
She said 55%, 65%, and Tessie
She said all Lagosians.
All Lagosians.
I say all Nigerians.
Because someone wants to
Are you hearing
they're
this?
not crazy, you can't live in Lagos.
No.
Professor Adeoye Lambo, before his death, the foremost neurologist, right, came to the conclusion that every other person that you meet on the street,
road, yes, is mad.
is it not self-evident?
It is.
Will you go on the Nigerian roads
And assume that the person beside you is saying,
and you come back and say, even though, let's start from self.
even you.
Are you saying?
Something happened to me just 2 days, some few days back here, right in the front of the office. I was rushing for an appointment, and I was outside waiting for my cab, and this guy just kicked me from nowhere. I've never seen him before. I've never met him before. And I just looked at him, and it looks normal. And it was like he stood, I was looking at me that, yes, what do you want to do? I just said, oh, I'm very sorry, sir. I just had to move on. And I kept thinking that, what kind of human being is this? Why would you just come from nowhere and kick me? That's why I said all Lagosians. Because some people will tell you, if you're not crazy, you can't live in Lagos.
Really?
Yes, have you never heard of that?
And the concept is that when you see somebody with mental health, looking rough and what have you,
So you actually assume they are the only ones that are
the only ones.
When you see somebody well touched out like Toby since touched and Tessie is looking dandy that way, that cannot happen.
That
and I
cannot
tell
happen.
you, that is a myth. We found that the people that have the greatest issue of mental health are not necessarily the downtrodden there.
I actually think
They
so.
are even the middle class and even people
Even the very rich.
at the
The
CEO
top of
levels.
it.
Otherwise,
Rather.
what will make somebody come home and the wife comes back home and the next thing is because of some self-esteem or bipolar issues, take a hammer and hit
The wife on the head.
the woman on the head, or the woman says she suspects infidelity on account of the husband,
And take a knife to
and
the
take a knife
husband's...
and take a knife to slice off the
His problem.
powerhouse. You see, at the end of the day, we all need help. Professor Lambo also prescribed that anybody that is going to take up any political policy appointments need to be checked
Psychologically.
in the private sector. This comes as part of the normal process.
That you do.
You are being observed. I was on the plane between Atlanta and California on an assignment when I was in practice. I didn't know that was the test for me. And you know what they did? They put a gay guy to sit near me. So I quietly stood up.
A gay?
Yes, and with earring, and then I quietly got up and then I went to meet. Please, can you change my seat? I said, no, there's no that seat they can change for you. You have to. A white lady now whispered to me, Mr. Akin Fatunke, please, you have come from Africa, you come from Nigeria. Don't get deported on account of all these things. You must be able to manage that process in the flight. So I went back to the gate. We got talking. The irony of it all is that person that had that mindset is a gay. I'm not gay. I don't believe in it. I don't trust it. But the system is such that, you do not discriminate on religion. You do not discriminate man and woman. You do not discriminate on gay. If something brings it together, go do that assignment. I discovered that guy was the source of my success on that assignment.
Wow.
That guy that I had a mindset against.
Wow.
The one that I thought looked normal.
Wow.
One way or the other. The point I'm just trying to make is the fact that education, education rather than mindset is very, very, very important. You know how to draw the boundaries. Situation where you say a woman cannot, part of Nigeria, a woman cannot be the boss, be the leader.
A woman cannot be the president.
Back in school, women beat me stiff academically. They beat me stiff. I've had to go to a woman to say, how do you do it? She taught me one or two tricks of how to study. I got it from a woman. In my professional education, I'm a chartered accountant. I'm a man. You come back from the mindset. You must always win. I tried and swatted. Only for me to discover that a woman came first in our Akin exam. So, it is not all that you see as sane, as husband and wife, as children, situations where 45% of our youth are just roaming the wild. We need to engage them. We need to make them understand. We need to give them a sense of love, empathy, and kind of togetherness. You have to go in there. You don't stigmatize and say, Jabba left. Churches should go in there. Mosques should go visiting there. Spend time with these future leaders of Nigeria that ordinarily would have just confined to the Philistines. So I need your attention. I have a problem. Create time and help that person out. And you know what I've discovered? You think you want to help that person. Not knowing
That the
you are
person
actually helping yourself. Because eventually you might get back into your home and then you see unbelievable stuff happening in your house. Since you've been able to practice outside,
you'll be able to
handle it at home.
Tessie, you're right on that.
Thank you very
Wonderful
much.
conversation we've been having with Mr. Akin Fatunke this morning, and we've been talking about the therapy taboo. We'll be talking about that again hopefully next week, and we'll be addressing young people and how the system, how the entire structure of a society can address some of these issues. But we take this quick break. It's time for Community Report, and you will be telling us exactly the things happening in your environment, those areas of town that have been forgotten for quite a while. You need to tell us what's happening there, and you need to send us videos or pictures. So if you're just joining us, you need to go to that particular drainage or road and take a video, take a shot, a picture, send to us on 08064738133. That's the number for our community reports. Only WhatsApp and SMS, no calls. We'll be back.